The Gifted, episode 6, Got Your Six. This episode, of course, outside of being a week old, was really good. I like the relationship that they had, kind of with everyone kind of either building up their relationship or, in some sense, separating it, kind of with Thunderbird and Blink, which, I know it's not going to be like a permanent thing like they have Blink. She's not just going to be away forever. But I like what they did with this episode for some of the character building moments. We have the kids kind of training a little bit. We have Andy actually going out on, a really big mission. We get introduced to Mirage, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm not sure if he, considering how the show goes, don't think he'll have a ton of relevance as far as what they do and going out, because it's just images. It's fairly dark in this show. Like, no one's really, well, none of the main characters, at least so far, have like died or anything, but it gets pretty intense. Like, everything is kind of like go for the kill type of attacks. Like, nothing's like, oh, they might get out of here. It's like everything is meant to be like, let's pretty much kill everybody, kill all the mutants off. So don't know how far into things we'll really have him playing a role for the series, but I like the relationships that kind of expanded in this episode. So I thought it was really cool. We have Polaris actually training the kids, which I thought was actually really nice, even though it wasn't exactly accepted by everyone, particularly the adults, which kind of makes sense, at least the parents. It's like, our kids are training, and that's not exactly cool, but of course in this episode, it's like, well, Andy makes a great point. It's like, not only can I help you guys break through this wall, but I'm also going to be just as screwed as any of you guys if we get busted. Like, the kids are still going to be screwed, so we might as well fight to try to keep us going a little bit longer. So just let me help. So I thought it was pretty cool. And now, of course, I love what it led to between Andy and Reed, and just how they had to deal with these issues where it's like, this is a man who prosecuted mutants all the time, and Andy's kind of going through this process of the scene where he's explaining his powers, and it's like, actually feels good to like destroy stuff. And his dad kind of looked at him weird, like, oh, like you're like he was a criminal or something. And it kind of changed that moment for them. But it was a really good episode for the two of them to kind of work through some of the issues that they had, and them kind of bonding, kind of rebonding. Just not just as a father and son, but as a father who is now learning that his son is a mutant, and as a son who is a mutant, learning to control his powers and be, basically a new person almost. So really love that element of the story. Of course, their whole mission was to go out and try to kind of basically expand the story of like this insanely new threat of these mutants that are being taken and possibly being brought back to life. We still don't get the specifics, but they ultimately go through with Marcos, which, man, he had probably one of my favorite scenes, definitely one of my favorite scenes of this episode. But us finding out the new ability about his power, where before he actually channels it into light or the actual lasers, he absorbs it. And I thought that was a really cool freaking scene where they stop the truck and the guy is like, alright, I gotta search the back and everything. And so basically he's like, just scoot all the way to the back. I'll absorb the light so that it just looks like there's nothing back there and it's just really dark. And that was such a cool scene. I was like, holy crap, that is a freaking cool power. But it was something that he struggles with because he's used to the second step in the power, because it's just like, I absorb it and then boom. And it's, that's the easy part. It's like the containing it and not releasing it again that's hard for him. It's like storing up. It's almost like absorbing the energy is far more difficult than outputting the energy. But it was such a cool moment. I was like, that is actually, it was almost like a power in itself, but it just looks so cool. I was like, man, he's like absorbing all this light, and he's just struggling and struggling, and the guy finally is like, okay, you're clear to go, and they close it, and he's like, holy crap, like that was almost it for him. And I was like, that was actually really cool. And that's also, I'd say, one of the, oddly enough, the only other person we've really seen struggle with their powers, I would say, is Polaris. Like, Blink, she struggles because it's like she's not super comfortable with it, but it hasn't been to the point of like, passing out almost in Marcos's case in this, or him just like falling a little bit and being tired. And with Polaris, she mostly struggled because she was trying to break past the collar that they had her on, stopping her powers. But this is one of those moments where we see someone fighting so hard to continue, pushing their powers. So I thought that was actually really cool, because that's definitely something that comes up where it is a mental as well as a physical thing when mutants use their power. So I thought it was cool that we actually got to see that in this episode, where he's like, yeah, I don't normally focus on this part because it's like, oh, take away the light. That's not useful in combat scenarios. It is, but most of them, they're in broad daylight, and he would have to like take out the sun, so it doesn't even make sense. So I just thought it was really cool that we got to see that struggle where most of the characters is just like, all right, it's tough for me to use my power, but it's just like using it in general is the problem. It's not like, oh, he's been super familiar with his power, but it's this side of his power that he's just like, yeah, it's there, but I don't really need to use it, so I have to struggle to kind of keep it going. So, love that scene. I just thought it was really cool. But like the relationship and how everything kind of played out between Andy and Reed, and it comes down to the end where, when they do break through the wall and Andy's super happy and he was trying to like run in and Reed's like, what do you think you're doing? It's like, we stick to the plan, we'll go in and then basically we'll come out and get you. So they go in and everything works out fine. They end up getting the hard drives. But the one thing that was kind of crazy is Reed's, he's going through grabbing files or whatever and then he looks up and it's a picture of him in this room, and it's just like, that's kind of a part of what he does. At least I'm pretty sure that was him. It was kind of a quick little shot, and I wasn't paying that much attention, but I saw the picture. I guess I just assumed it was him. But it's like, yep, that's how important he is. Like, there's a picture of him with these other people. And it's like, yep, that's you, because that's the stuff that you have done. So it was just an interesting, like, quick little moment, and then it was just Marcos was like, hey, are you good? And he's like, yeah, and he kind of just, moves past it. But really enjoyed that sequence of the episode. Of course, going back to some of the relationships and stuff like that, we have Thunderbird and his issue dealing with Blink and how that all played out. And she confronts him, and ultimately is like, yeah, this really sucked, and you kind of suck for not telling me. She sucks for doing it. And he was it was really funny where he's like, I'm sorry it happened. But he did ultimately say, was like, well, she needed to help the team and we'd be dead. So it seemed like he was kind of okay with it in some of the ways that he was explaining. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm out of here. And she was just like, screw it. And she takes off. So, I know we'll get to see that, part of her story in the next episode. But it was cool. It was very simple. That ultimate confrontation where she's like, this happened. Did you know? And, how does all this crap play out? So, ultimately, Blink is taken off, and it was very simple. It was just, yeah, she was mad. She's still mad because he didn't give a really good answer. But what could he give? Like, at this point, he hadn't said anything about, hey, this is fake and sorry that it happened. He waited until he was confronted, because even when she asked, it was like, I think she said, like, is there something you want to say? And he's just like, about what? And it's like, okay, I guess I gotta just confront you. So, him and Dreamer, neither of them were really doing a great job helping the situation, like just saying, hey, this happened. Or especially Dreamer, where when we found out that she could have just taken it away, it's like, well, why didn't, if they were so worried that it might not fade, just snatch it, just watch she sleep, just go, and just suck the dream right out. Like, it was fake to begin with when she implanted it, so just take it out. It's like, why wouldn't you just automatically do that? It didn't make any sense, but neither of them really did a good job, so it totally makes sense that Blink would take off. And then as far as, like, the minor relationship thing, we have, Mirage coming in, and it's like, okay, well, let's see where that goes. Just a little relationship, and him, having the hots for somebody. Not that big of a deal. Just happens to be one of the main characters. I don't know if that means he'll die, because, of course, they aren't going to go into, like, the super relationship stuff, or if he'll just leave, but either way, that was really, it's, like, nothing. But Mirage is in there, so that was kind of cool. But that was pretty much it for the episode. There's a bit of a training, and then at the end of the episode leads into the next one with Marco's actually getting a call at the end of the episode, which, we'll see how that ultimately ends up playing out with him and the destruction and all the stuff that means, and his struggles and his lies from, hiding from the team, that sort of stuff. So we'll see how that plays out in the next episode. But ultimately, this is definitely a good one. We do see, I believe the guy's name is Dr. Campbell, the guy who was investigating, like, the twins from, like, 1912 or whatever, I think at the end of the very first episode. But he ends up calling Strucker again, and they have a bit of a conversation, and so now they're kind of working together, and things are kind of starting to build up. So we'll see how that ultimately ends up playing out. But good episode, all in all. I would love to know, what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it, and I would love to know, excuse me, I would love to know your theories on what we're going to get from this information. Like, what's going to happen with these hard drives? Are we going to find out everything? What do you believe is going to get revealed? Of course, this is a week late, so you probably already know the answers. But I would love to know what you think is going to get revealed from these hard drives, what secrets are going to, come to light as far as resurrected mutants and other characters being out there, and spies and this and that, and all sorts of secret government secrets, I guess. But I would love to know your theories on that, and of course, like I said, what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.